She missed the most important exam of her life to keep a bleeding woman alive. 3 days later, her neighborhood shook as a private helicopter came for her. Tiana Mercer didn't expect her whole world to flip before sunrise, but that's exactly what happened on that stretch of road outside Bakersfield, California. She had been awake for nearly 20 hours, running on cold leftovers and cheap coffee, driving her old Honda down the empty 2-lane road she took every night after studying at the Kern Medical Library. Her eyes were heavy, but her mind was full of medical flashcards she'd reviewed again and again, hoping they'd stick long enough for the exam she had in the morning. She kept the window slightly open, just to stay alert. The night air rushed in, brushing against her face and making her blink a few extra times. She whispered to herself, "Come on, Tiana, just a few more minutes. You've done harder things." But right as she rounded a curve, her headlights caught something that didn't belong on that quiet road. A car, not parked, not pulled over, but smashed into a guardrail with the driver's door half open. Tiana's foot hit the brake before she even processed what she was doing. Her tires screeched and her heart started pounding in a way that snapped the exhaustion right out of her body. She grabbed her phone, shoved open her door, and jogged toward the crashed vehicle. "Hello?" she called out. "Can you hear me?" Her voice echoed more than she expected. That scared her. She stepped closer, and that's when she saw the blood. Thick streaks across the inside of the windshield, glass scattered across the seat and the pavement. The metallic smell hit her first, sharp and cold. Someone was inside. Tiana leaned in and saw a woman slumped forward, her blonde hair tangled with bits of glass, her breathing uneven. She whispered, "Ma'am, can you hear me?" The woman stirred just enough to let out a soft, painful sound. Tiana's training took over. She reached in gently, checking for responsiveness, trying to assess her injuries in the dim glow of her headlights. Even with the limited light, she recognized the signs: head trauma, possible concussion, maybe worse. The deep cut across the woman's temple was still dripping, running along her cheek and into her collar. "Stay with me," Tiana said. "I'm going to help you, okay?" The woman blinked slowly. "Please, don't leave me," she whispered, barely audible. "I'm not going anywhere," Tiana said softly. "I promise." She grabbed her phone and called 911, giving her location as clearly as she could despite her shaking hands. She kept talking to the woman, trying to keep her awake, asking simple questions, anything to gauge her awareness. "What's your name?" Tiana asked. The woman took a moment, her lips trembling. "Renee Harrington." That last name hit Tiana like a jolt. Harrington? As in the Harrington family? The billionaire tech founder from Los Angeles? She had seen the couple on TV once, accepting an award for humanitarian work, but she didn't have time to think about any of that now. Renee's breathing was uneven. Her pulse, though present, felt weak. Tiana pressed a hand gently against her neck to stabilize it. "Help is on the way," she said. "Keep looking at me." Renee's eyes fluttered. "I'm scared." "I know," Tiana whispered, "but you're not alone." Tiana reached into her backpack, pulling out a clean towel she always carried for late-night shifts, and wrapped it carefully around Renee's head, applying light pressure to slow the bleeding. It was the best she could do with what she had. As the minutes passed, Tiana felt her own fear rising. She knew enough about head injuries to understand how serious this was, and even though she tried to stay calm, one thought pushed its way into her mind. If help didn't arrive soon, this woman might not make it, but she didn't let that fear show. She stayed focused, steady, present. Sirens finally echoed in the distance, faint at first, then growing louder. Tiana exhaled for the first time in what felt like forever, but she didn't realize yet that the choice she made on that dark road would change the entire direction of her life. By the time the paramedics arrived and took Renee Harrington away, the adrenaline that had kept Tiana sharp began to fade. She stood on the side of the road, arms wrapped around herself, watching the ambulance lights smear across the dark sky. One medic had paused before climbing in, turning back to her with a look that was half shock, half respect. "If you hadn't stepped in," he said, "she wouldn't have made it. You saved her life tonight." Those words should have filled her with pride. Instead, they landed like a stone in her stomach. Because the moment the ambulance pulled away, the reality she'd been trying to ignore finally hit her. She had an exam in just a few hours. The exam. The one that determined whether she kept her scholarship. Without it, her entire future would slip right out of her hands. And she knew she wasn't going to make it on time. She drove home with her hands still shaking. Her neighborhood, an older area in Bakersfield with modest single-story houses and cracked sidewalks, was quiet when she pulled in. The streetlights flickered as she parked in front of her mother's house, a place she helped pay for with her part-time income and loans. Inside, the living room lamp was still on. Her mother, Janie Mercer, was dozing on the couch with a book on her lap. When the door clicked shut, Janie's eyes opened instantly. "Tiana, baby, you okay? You're home late." Late wasn't unusual, but the way Tiana stood there, frozen, drained, clothes stained with someone else's blood, was. Her mother jumped up. "What happened? Talk to me." Tiana took a breath, long and shaky. "I helped someone. There was an accident. A woman was hurt bad." Janae stepped closer. "Are you hurt?" "No, I'm fine," Tiana said. I did everything I could." Janae gently touched her arm. "Sit down. Tell me what happened." Tiana sank into the couch and explained everything. Finding the car, the injuries, the bleeding, the 911 call, the paramedics. Her mother listened without interrupting, her expression tight with worry, but filled with pride. "You did the right thing," Janae said quietly when she finished. Tiana nodded, but her eyes drifted to the clock on the wall. "My exam is in 3 hours." Janae closed her eyes for a moment, letting out a slow breath. She knew how much Tiana had sacrificed to get where she was. Years of grueling work, sleepless nights, skipped meals, and constant fear of falling behind. "You're still going to try to make it?" she asked gently. Tiana looked at the dried blood on her sleeves. She felt the ache in her muscles, the sting in her temples, the overwhelm clawing at her chest. "I don't know if I can," she said. "I don't even know if I should." Her mother took her hand. "You saved someone's life. That matters." "I know," Tiana said softly, "but saving someone won't pay for med school. It won't convince my professor to give me grace, and I can't lose that scholarship." Janae didn't have an answer for that. She squeezed Tiana's hand tighter. After a moment, Tiana forced herself up. "I need to at least try." She changed clothes, washed her face, tied her hair back, grabbed her keys, and walked out the door with her mother watching her silently from the hallway. The drive to campus felt longer than usual. Bakersfield College's Health Sciences building stood under bright lights as dawn crept in. The parking lot was nearly empty. Students trickled in one by one, some holding coffee, some holding stress, all preparing for the same exam she was supposed to be studying for. But Tiana didn't walk in with them. She stood by her car, staring at the building, feeling the weight of the night crushing her shoulders. She whispered, "Please, just let this work out." But hope wasn't enough. Because as soon as she stepped into the exam room and saw the clock on the wall, her heart dropped. She was too late. The proctor, Professor Halden, looked up sharply. "Ms. Mercer, the exam ended 20 minutes ago. You cannot enter." "I had an emergency," she tried to explain. "A woman was hurt, and He raised a hand. "Rules apply to everyone." "But I helped save her. I did CPR, stabilized her neck, stopped the bleeding. The paramedics..." "This isn't the time." His tone was cold, final. "There are no makeups." Tiana stood there, speechless, her throat tight. She'd given everything, sacrificed everything, and it still wasn't enough. She walked out of the building with her chest burning, her vision blurry. She wanted to scream, cry, collapse. But she didn't do any of that. She just walked to her car, sat behind the wheel, and stared at the dashboard. Her world felt like it was collapsing in slow motion. But she didn't know that someone else was fighting for their life in a hospital bed, thinking about the young woman who refused to leave her side. The morning after the exam disaster felt heavier than usual. Tiana woke up with a tightness in her chest, the kind that made it hard to take a full breath. She lay staring at the ceiling of her small bedroom, replaying the night again and again. The smashed car, the blood, the frantic pressure she applied to Renee's head, the cold refusal from Professor Halden. She dragged herself out of bed and went to her nursing clinical shift at Adventist Health in Bakersfield, hoping work would distract her. But even during patient check-ins and chart updates, her mind kept drifting back to that moment she first saw Renee's car, half crushed against the guardrail. That sight was burned into her memory. Late that afternoon, as she was preparing discharge paperwork for an elderly patient, her phone buzzed on the counter. It was an unknown number. She stepped into the hallway and answered. "Hello?" A man's voice came through, quiet but steady. "Is this Tiana Mercer?" "Yes." "This is Dr. Sean Patel from Mercy Southwest Hospital." He paused before continuing. "You're listed as the individual who assisted a patient last night, Renee Harrington." Tiana straightened. "Is she okay?" "She's stable for now," he said. "She had a severe concussion, a fractured rib, and significant blood loss. The head injury was serious, very serious, but the care you provided before EMS arrival played a major role in her survival. We wanted to make sure you were informed." Tiana didn't speak right away. She felt something warm gather behind her eyes. Relief, fear, something complicated. "Thank you for calling," she finally said. "One more thing," Dr. Patel added. "Her family has been trying to reach you. They're very grateful. Expect a call." But Tiana wasn't sure she wanted one. She didn't help Renee to get praise or attention. She helped her because it was the right thing. She hung up and leaned against the wall for a moment, letting everything sink in. She saved someone's life. But saving her had cost her the only thing she'd been working toward for years. Work ended around sundown. She drove home slowly, her mind drifting back to that night once again. She remembered the way the moonlight hit the twisted metal of the car, the strange quiet of the road, the faint groan that made her heart jump. When she first approached the accident, she could barely make out the shape inside. She remembered calling out, "Ma'am, can you hear me?" and hearing only a broken whisper in return. She remembered the glass crunching under her shoes as she approached the door. She remembered how cold Renee's skin felt when she touched her cheek. That scared her more than anything, the cold. "Tiana," Renee had murmured at one point, barely conscious. "Don't leave." That sentence replayed over and over, even now. It stuck with her, pulling at something deep inside. Back in her room that night, Tiana sat cross-legged on her bed, laptop open, trying to email Professor Halden again. Her message was long, detailed, respectful. She explained everything as clearly as she could, hoping he might find an ounce of mercy. But his reply came 10 minutes later. "Ms. Mercer, I cannot offer any exceptions to our policy. Missing the exam results in automatic failure." That was it. No sympathy, no acknowledgement of what she'd done. She shut her laptop and stared at her blank wall. Her mother knocked softly before stepping in. "Baby, any luck?" Tiana shook her head. "I failed." Her mother came over and sat beside her. "You saved someone. That's bigger than one test." "But it's not bigger than med school," Tiana whispered, fighting to keep her voice steady. "They'll take my scholarship. I'll have to retake the course. I don't know how I'm supposed to keep going without falling behind." Her mother placed an arm around her shoulders. "You've come this far, and you're not alone. Something good will come out of this. Maybe not today, but someday." Tiana wanted to believe that. She tried to. She closed her eyes and replayed the accident again. Every sound, every breath, every second she fought to keep Renee awake. She didn't know why, but each time she replayed it, she felt the same thing. She wouldn't change a single decision she made that night, but life had a way of moving faster than she expected, and something was about to hit her life harder than she could imagine. Tiana didn't know it yet, but the moment she stepped out of her car that night, her entire future hinged on the choices she made in the next few minutes. The memory stayed sharp in her mind, every detail refusing to fade. She remembered jogging toward the wreck, the gravel biting into her shoes, her breath loud in her ears. The night was dark, but her headlights stretched just far enough to reveal the tangled mess of metal and broken glass. She pushed the door wider and crouched next to the woman inside. "Ma'am, can you hear me?" she said again. A soft sound came from the woman, barely more than a breath. "My head? Okay, I'm here. My name is Tiana," she said, keeping her voice steady. "I'm trained. I'm going to help you, all right?" The woman blinked, her eyes glassy, unfocused. Blood dripped from a deep cut above her eyebrow, sliding down her cheek in thin, dark streams. Her blonde hair stuck to her face in streaks. She looked terrified. Tiana leaned in closer. "What's your name?" The woman swallowed shakily. "Renee Harrington." Hearing that name still felt surreal, but in that moment, Renee wasn't a billionaire's wife. She was just a person dying on the side of a road. "Okay, Renee," Tiana said softly. "I need you to stay awake. Look at me, all right?" Renee winced. "It hurts. Everything hurts." I know, but I'm here with you. Tiana pulled off her sweater and folded it, pressing it gently against the open wound on Renee's temple. The blood soaked through fast, too fast. She needed more pressure, but not too much. Head injuries were dangerous. Can you move your fingers for me? She asked. Renee tried. Her hand twitched weakly. Good. That's helpful. Tiana's breathing stayed even, but inside, panic pushed at the edges of her control. She forced herself to stay focused. She checked for any airway obstruction, making sure Renee was swallowing without difficulty. She monitored her breathing shallow. Renee, stay with me, okay? Tiana said again. Renee's voice wavered. Please don't leave. Never, Tiana whispered. Not until help gets here. Suddenly, Renee flinched and groaned. Her eyes rolled slightly, then drifted closed. No, Tiana whispered, shaking her shoulder carefully. Renee, open your eyes. Look at me, talk to me. Renee struggled. I'm so tired. I know, Tiana said, brushing the hair out of her face. But you have to fight. You have to stay awake. What's the last thing you remember before the crash? Renee blinked hard, trying to focus. I was driving back from Santa Clarita. I felt dizzy. I thought it would pass. Tiana's eyebrows tightened. Dizzy how? Like the road tilted. She had a head injury before she even crashed. That meant swelling. That meant time was running out. I'm calling for help, Tiana said, reaching for her phone. Her hands trembled as she dialed. Stay awake. Look at me, Renee. The dispatcher answered, and Tiana gave every detail she could. Location, visible injuries, level of consciousness. Her voice stayed level, but her heart thudded fast against her ribs. She needed them there now. Help is on the way, the operator said. Thank you, Tiana whispered before hanging up. She turned back to Renee, who was watching her with hazy, terrified eyes. You're not going to die tonight, Tiana said softly. Not on my watch. Renee's lips quivered. Why? Why are you helping me? Tiana gave a small smile. Because someone would have helped me if I were in your place. That's how it works. But it's dark. You're alone. I'm not scared, Tiana lied. Renee tried to breathe deeper but winced in pain. Her chest hitched awkwardly. Tiana's eyes darted down. A fractured rib, maybe more. Can you tell me if it hurts when you breathe? Tiana asked. Yes, right here. Renee pressed a hand to her left side. Tiana gently lowered her hand. Okay, but don't move. Just focus on me. Minutes felt like hours. Tiana kept pressure on the wound, checked Renee's pulse again and again, whispered encouragements to keep her conscious. Renee's breathing grew more shallow. Her skin turned cooler. Tiana swallowed hard. You have to stay awake. Renee, listen to me. Who's the first person you want to see when you get out of the hospital? Renee blinked. My husband, Grant. He'll be so scared. Good. Then stay awake for him. Look at me. Suddenly, Renee squeezed her hand weakly. I don't want to die. You're not dying, Tiana said, her voice breaking for the first time that night. You hear me? You're not. I'm not letting that happen. That's when the sirens hit her ears. Louder. Closer. Relief washed over her so fast her knees nearly buckled. Lights splashed across the road. The ambulance screeched to a stop. Paramedics ran toward them, dropping equipment as they approached. One knelt beside Tiana. What's her condition? Tiana gave a rundown. Injuries, consciousness, vitals, what she stabilized, how long she'd been bleeding. The man stared at her. You're a student? Yes. He shook his head, shocked. You did all of this alone? Yes. Well, you probably saved her life. Hearing it again didn't make it feel more real. She just stepped back as they lifted Renee onto the stretcher. Before they closed the ambulance doors, Renee forced her eyes open one more time. You saved me, she whispered. Tiana swallowed hard. Just get better. The doors shut and the ambulance sped into the night. But Tiana didn't realize that saving Renee Harrington didn't end there. Someone else had been watching, and the consequences were only beginning. The morning after the crash, Tiana felt like she was moving through water. Every sound felt muted. Every step felt heavier. She sat at the edge of her bed, running her fingers over the dried scratches on her arms from the shattered glass. Her phone buzzed with messages from classmates asking how the exam went, but she couldn't bring herself to answer. Her future had slipped through her hands while she was kneeling on a cold road, trying to keep a stranger alive. By the time she made it downstairs, her mother was already in the kitchen, packing lunch for her younger brother. The smell of toast and eggs usually made the house feel warm. Not today. "Tiana," her mother said softly, "come sit." She joined her at the table, pressing her palms against her own forehead. "Did you sleep?" her mother asked. "A little. You're thinking about the exam." Tiana didn't answer. She didn't need to. Her mother sat beside her. "Did you hear anything back from your professor?" Tiana pushed her phone across the table. Her mother picked it up, read the message, and sighed. "He really said that?" "Yeah," Tiana whispered. "No exceptions." Her mother placed the phone down gently, almost as if dropping it too hard might make the situation worse. "I'm sorry, baby. I keep thinking..." Tiana's voice wavered. "What if I had just driven past? What if someone else had stopped? I could have made it on time. I could have saved my future." Her mother took her hand. "But that's not who you are. You help people, even when it costs you." Tiana looked at her, tired, heartbroken, still trying to believe this wasn't the end. "I don't know what to do now," she whispered. Before her mother could answer, her phone rang again. This time, it wasn't a local number. It wasn't the hospital, either. It was an unfamiliar area code from Los Angeles. She froze. "Answer it," her mother said. Tiana took a breath and pressed the green button. "Hello?" A man's voice came through, this time controlled, but full of weight. "Is this Ms. Tiana Mercer?" "Yes." "Who's calling?" "This is Grant Harrington." Her stomach dropped. "The husband of..." "I know who you are," she said quietly. There was a pause on his end. Then, "I wanted to personally thank you for saving my wife's life." Tiana gripped the edge of the table. She could hear beeping machines in the background, the unmistakable sounds of a hospital room. How is she?" Tiana asked. "She's stable," Grant said. "Doctors told me she wouldn't be alive if you hadn't done what you did. I've been trying to find your address, your school, anything. I want to meet you." "You don't have to." "Yes," he cut in. "I do." Tiana swallowed. "I'm glad she's okay. That's all that matters." Grant let out a shaky breath. "I want to repay you." "That's not necessary." "It is to me," he insisted. "Please, let me do something." Tiana hesitated. "I really didn't do it for money." "I understand, but at least let me speak with you." She didn't know what to say. She didn't even know what she wanted. "I'll call you again tomorrow," he said. "Please keep your phone close." The call ended. Her mother stared at her. "Was that?" "Yes," Tiana said softly. "It was him." Her mother exhaled. "Baby, maybe this is the good thing that was supposed to come out of it." Tiana wanted to believe that she really did, but she still had to face the reality. She failed the course. She risked losing her scholarship. She might have to work twice as many hours to make up for it. Her dreams felt more fragile than ever. That night, lying in her bed, she opened her laptop and stared at the scholarship conditions. Missing the exam meant failing the class. Failing the class meant a review she'd most likely lose. She closed the laptop and buried her face into her hands. She did the right thing. But doing the right thing didn't protect her from the consequences. But she didn't know that while she was lying awake worrying about bills and classes, someone else was planning something far bigger than a simple thank you. The next 2 days pushed Tiana harder than she thought her heart could handle. At work, she tried to stay focused, but her mind kept drifting. Every time she checked a patient's vitals or entered notes into the charting system, she wondered how her own life had slipped into this strange, painful limbo. One moment, she was a med student fighting to keep her future intact. The next, she was the reason a billionaire's wife was still breathing. But none of it made the emails from her academic advisor any easier to read. By the time her shift ended that evening, she had received a final notice. Her scholarship committee would meet in 10 days to determine whether she could remain in the program. 10 days to come up with a miracle. She drove home slowly, headlights brushing against familiar houses. Kids played basketball in a driveway. A dog barked behind a fence. The world kept moving like nothing had happened. Inside the house, her younger brother, Zayden, was sprawled on the couch playing a video game. He looked up briefly. "Hey, T, Mom said to tell you dinner's in the fridge." "Thanks," she said. He paused the game and turned toward her. "You look tired." "I am." Zayden studied her for a moment. "You're gonna be all right, you know? You always figure stuff out." His words were innocent, but they pierced her. She tried to smile. "I'm working on it." She went to the kitchen, took out the container, and sat at the table. She wasn't really hungry, but she forced herself to eat. She needed something in her system, anything to make her feel grounded. Her mother joined her a few minutes later, sitting across from her with a cup of tea. "You heard anything from that man again?" she asked. "No, not yet. He said he would call." Tiana shrugged. "Maybe he's busy. He's got a wife in recovery." "And a whole world of resources," her mother said quietly. "People like him don't forget things like this." Tiana didn't reply. She wanted to believe him. She wanted to believe something good was coming, but she had been let down enough times to know better than to hang her future on hope. Later that night, she went outside to clear her head. The air was cool, and the neighborhood was quiet. She sat on the small porch step, pulling her knees up to her chest. Her phone buzzed. An unknown number again. She answered quickly. "Hello?" A woman's voice this time, soft but steady. "Is this Tiana Mercer?" "Yes." "This is Renee. Renee Harrington." Tiana's breath caught. "Oh, hi. I'm glad you're awake. I'm glad you're talking. I wanted to call sooner," Renee said, her voice slightly weak. "But they had me doped up on pain medication. My husband told me how you stayed with me, how you kept me awake, how you didn't leave. I just did what I could." "You did more than that," Renee said. "You saved my life." Tiana didn't know how to respond. Silence stretched for a moment. Then Renee added, "And my husband and I want to meet you. Both of us." "Oh," Tiana said. I don't know if..." "Please," Renee cut in. "I need to thank you properly. We owe you more than words." Tiana swallowed. "Let me think about it." "Of course," Renee said gently. "But Tiana, don't think too long." They ended the call, and Tiana sat staring into the dark, her hand trembling slightly. Her mother stepped outside. "Who called?" "Renee." "And?" "She wants to meet." Her mother's eyes lit up with something that looked like hope, real hope. "Baby, that could be important." "Maybe, or maybe I'm being naive." Her mother placed a hand on her shoulder. "You act like good things don't happen to you." Tiana looked down. "They usually don't." "Well," her mother said softly, "maybe this time is different." Before Tiana could respond, she heard a faint whirring in the distance, but she ignored it. Probably just trucks on the highway. She headed back inside, her mind buzzing. She saved a life. She lost her exam. She lost her scholarship. A billionaire's wife wanted to meet her. Her entire future was hanging in a strange balance she couldn't control. As she lay in bed that night, she whispered to herself, "Just let something, anything, go right." But something was already moving behind the scenes, and it was so much bigger than a phone call or an email, something that would reach her front yard louder than any promise she'd ever been given. The morning it happened, nothing felt unusual at first. Tiana woke up early, braided her hair back, and grabbed her scrubs from the chair where she'd tossed them the night before. She had another clinical shift, another day of trying not to think about the scholarship meeting looming over her. Her mother was already up, cooking eggs while humming softly. Zayden sat at the table, eating cereal straight from the bowl, like always. Tiana poured herself a cup of coffee and sat next to him. "You going in early?" her mother asked. "Yeah," Tiana said. "Got a long shift today." Zayden looked up. "You gonna be back in time for dinner?" "Maybe. I'll try." He shrugged and kept eating. It was all normal, comfortably normal, almost like her life wasn't hanging by a thread. She grabbed her bag and headed outside. The sun was just rising, brushing the neighborhood in soft orange light. She unlocked her car, opened the door, and that's when she heard it. A deep, rumbling thump in the distance. Not like a truck, not like construction. Something heavier, something moving through the air. She turned around slowly. Her mother stepped out onto the porch. "What is that?" The neighbors began drifting out of their houses, shading their eyes, looking toward the sky. A dog barked 3 houses down. Tiana's heart started beating faster, though she didn't know why. The sound grew louder, closer. Zayden pushed open the screen door. "Yo, is that a helicopter?" Tiana looked up. A sleek, black aircraft was crossing over the row of houses, descending lower and lower. The wind from its blades blew dust and leaves across the street. A few people backed up onto their lawns, gripping railings or pulling children back from the sidewalk. Her mother's voice trembled. "Lord, what in the world?" The helicopter angled itself toward the empty lot behind their house, the one the kids used to ride bikes through, the one with nothing in it but dry grass. It hovered for a moment, then it landed, right there, behind Tiana's backyard. The force of the wind made her hair whip across her face. Zayden covered his eyes. Neighbors gasped, murmuring, "What's going on? Whose house is that for? What happened?" Tiana stepped backward until her back hit her car. The helicopter door slid open. A man stepped out first. Tall, dressed in a tailored coat, hair pushed back neatly despite the wind. He wore sunglasses, but she could feel his focus on her from yards away. Grant Harrington. Her stomach tightened. Then another figure stepped out, slowly, carefully. A woman, leaning on a cane, her blonde hair pulled into a low ponytail, a white bandage wrapped around her head. She held onto the railing as she made her way down. Renee. Tiana couldn't move. Grant and Renee walked side by side across the lot, the neighborhood staring silently as they approached the Mercer house. Renee's cane pressed into the ground with every step, her breath measured but steady. Grant stayed close in case she stumbled. When they reached Tiana's yard, they stopped at the fence. Renee lifted her head, her eyes found Tiana's. "You saved my life," Renee said, her voice carrying across the lawn. "And we're not leaving until we thank you properly." Tiana blinked, stunned. "You didn't have to come here." "We did," Grant said. "You gave my wife a chance to live. I can't repay that with a phone call." The neighbors whispered loudly behind their fences. Someone recorded the scene with their phone. Another person murmured, "Girl, what did she do?" While someone else answered, "She must have done something incredible." Grant stepped forward. "Tiana, I talked to your professors. I talked to your dean. I know about the exam." He paused. "And I know what their decision means." Tiana felt her throat tighten. I didn't want you to get involved in that." "But I am involved," Grant said, "because you didn't think twice to save my wife, and the system shouldn't punish you for that." Renee reached into her coat pocket and pulled out an envelope. She held it out with a trembling hand. "This is for you." "Phew," she said. "It's not charity, it's gratitude." Tiana didn't take it immediately. Her hands shook. Her mother stepped closer, placing a hand on her back. What is it?" Tiana finally asked. Grant answered, "It's a full scholarship, paid in full every year, every book, every fee, no expiration." He paused, then added, "And an open invitation for a summer internship at the Harrington Medical Research Institute." Tiana covered her mouth with her hand. Her mother gasped, tears forming instantly. Zayden shouted, "No way!" before running inside to tell it to God knows who. Renee stepped even closer. "You didn't just save me. You saved a wife, a mother, a family. I want you to finish your dream, because that night, you made sure I didn't lose mine." Tiana's eyes filled, her voice choked. I didn't expect anything." "We know," Renee said, "and that's why we're here." Grant placed a hand on his wife's shoulder and looked at Tiana with a seriousness that made the entire neighborhood fall silent. "People like you," he said, "deserve the world to show up for them the way they show up for others." Tiana finally took the envelope. Her hands trembled as she held it. Her mother wrapped an arm around her. Tears streamed down Tiana's cheeks as she whispered, "Thank you. Thank you both so much." Renee reached out, and Tiana gently took her hand, careful not to disturb the bandages. "You already paid us back," Renee said. "You gave me my life." Behind them, neighbors wiped their eyes. A few clapped, a few cheered. It was a moment almost too surreal to believe, but it was real, all of it. The helicopter blades started turning again, raising dust, wind, and the stunned murmurs of the neighborhood. Grant nodded once. "We'll be in touch soon." Renee smiled softly. "Take care of yourself, Tiana, and don't give up." Tiana stepped back as the couple returned to the helicopter. The blades whipped the air. The helicopter rose slowly, then lifted above the neighborhood, leaving a storm of dust swirling behind them. Tiana stood frozen, holding the envelope against her chest. Her mother whispered into her ear, "Baby, your life just changed." But nothing prepared Tiana for how much more it was about to change once she opened that envelope. For a long moment after the helicopter disappeared into the sky, the neighborhood stayed silent. Almost like everyone was trying to understand whether what they saw was real, Tiana stood in the middle of her yard, clutching the envelope so tightly her fingers started to ache. Her mother wiped her cheeks. "You gonna open it, baby?" Tiana nodded slowly and slid her thumb under the seal. The paper tore with a soft sound that carried more weight than any exam she'd ever taken. She unfolded the documents inside, her eyes scanning the first page, and then it hit her. Her entire tuition, covered. Textbooks, covered. Clinical fees, covered. Supplies, lab coats, everything she would ever need for medical school, covered. Even a small monthly stipend, so she wouldn't have to work herself into exhaustion just to survive the program. She read every line twice, then a third time, her breath trembling. "This can't be real," she whispered. Her mother stepped closer. "It's real, baby. It's right there." They meant every word. Tiana felt her throat tighten again as she whispered, I don't have to drop out. I don't have to retake the year. I don't have to lose everything I worked for." Zayden ran from the house yelling, "Tiana's rich. She's rich," which made a few neighbors laugh, but she didn't even hear them. She was too busy crying into her mother's chest. "I thought it was over," she said. "I thought I ruined my future." Her mother kissed her forehead. "No, you saved someone, and the world remembered." They walked inside together, the envelope held safely in Tiana's hands. She sat at the kitchen table, the same table where she'd cried 2 days ago, and read through every page again. But something else was inside the envelope, a handwritten note. Her hands shook as she unfolded it. "Tiana, there are people who help because they feel obligated, and people who help because their heart tells them it's the right thing. You are the second kind. People like you deserve every door to open. Thank you for giving me a chance to see my family again. With all my gratitude, Renee Harrington." Tiana pressed the note against her chest, tears falling again. Her mother sat across from her, smiling proudly. "What did the letter say?" "She thanked me," Tiana whispered, "but she didn't need to." Her mother reached for her hand. "Baby, maybe you needed to hear it." Tiana didn't argue. For the first time in days, she felt her chest loosen. The fear that had been holding her hostage slowly let go. Hours later, after things calmed down and neighbors finally drifted back to their homes, Tiana stepped outside again. She sat on her porch, watching the sun drop low behind the rooftops. Her phone buzzed with a new message, a text from an unknown number. "Thank you again, Tiana. The internship paperwork will be sent to your dean tomorrow. Rest tonight. You've earned it. Grant." She smiled softly. For the first time in a long time, she felt seen. Not as a student fighting for grades, not as a daughter trying to keep the bills paid, not as someone who always had to be strong even when she felt weak, but as someone who made a difference, someone who mattered. Her mother opened the screen door. "You coming inside?" "In a minute," Tiana said. She leaned back, letting the cool air touch her face. She thought about everything she had gone through the past few days. The pressure, the fear, the moment she chose to stop her car on that dark road. A small choice. One moment, one act of compassion. And it changed everything. She whispered to herself, maybe helping people really is who I'm meant to be." The porch light flickered on cars passed in the distance. Kids called to each other from the next street over. Life moved on. Except this time, it looked different. This time, Tiana could finally breathe. And this time, her dream of becoming a doctor wasn't slipping away. It was beginning. In life, many people believe doing the right thing only matters when it's convenient. But Tiana learned something different. When you do good without expecting anything in return, you still change the world. Sometimes in ways you never imagined. Helping someone might cost you time. It might cost you comfort. It might even cost you opportunities, but it never costs you your purpose. And sometimes, when you least expect it, the good you put out comes back to you louder than the pain you carried. If this story touched you, share it with someone who needs a reminder that kindness matters, even when nobody is watching. And remember, one act of compassion can change a life, maybe even your own.